Let's be real for a second. Life can feel like a tug-of-war between what we know is good for us and the things we're tempted to chase instead. It's messy, it's complicated, and sometimes we don't even realize we're caught up in habits or attitudes that are pulling us away from living the kind of life we really want. That's why Galatians 5 verses 19 to 21 is so important. This part of Galatians lists what's called the acts of the flesh. It's a tough list to read. Things like hatred, jealousy, fits of rage, selfishness, and division. It's not exactly uplifting at first glance, right? But if we're honest, we can all recognize ourselves in at least a few of those. Maybe it's the way we snap at someone when we're stressed, or how easy it is to compare ourselves to others and feel envious. These aren't just random bad habits. They're things that keep us stuck, robbing us of joy and harming our relationships. The good news is, Paul isn't calling us out to shame us. He's pointing out these behaviors to remind us that we don't have to live like this. God invites us to something so much better, a life led by the Spirit where love, joy, and peace are what define us. But to get there, we've got to be honest about the things that are holding us back. Think about jealousy for a moment. It's such a common feeling, but it can quietly take over if we're not careful. Maybe you've scrolled through social media and thought, why does their life look so perfect? Why don't I have what they have? It's so easy to get stuck in that mindset, but it never brings peace, does it? Instead, it pulls us away from gratitude and makes us feel like we're not enough. What if instead, we practice celebrating others? Next time you feel jealous, try flipping the script. Say a prayer of thanks for what God has given you and for the good things in someone else's life. It's not always easy, but it's so freeing. And then there's selfishness. It's a big one because it's so subtle. It can show up in the little choices we make, like choosing our comfort over helping someone in need. But living generously with our time, attention, and resources brings so much more joy. Think about a time when you went out of your way to help someone, even when it wasn't convenient. Maybe you stayed up late talking to a friend who was going through a hard time, or lent a hand to a coworker swamped with work. Those moments remind us that life isn't just about us. It's about loving and serving others. Paul also talks about division, something we see so much of today. Whether it's politics, social issues, or personal disagreements, it feels like the world is constantly pulling us to pick sides and fight. But division doesn't lead to peace. It leads to bitterness. What would it look like if, instead of focusing on differences, we leaned into humility? Maybe it's taking the time to really listen to someone who disagrees with you, not to prove them wrong, but to understand their perspective. It's not easy, but it's a step toward unity and grace. Galatians 5 verses 19 to 21 doesn't sugarcoat the hard stuff, but it's not about condemnation. It's about transformation. God loves us too much to leave us stuck in things that don't bring life. He's inviting us to let go of what's holding us back and step into something so much better. A life led by the Spirit, full of love, joy, and freedom. Let's lean into that together.